Hey guys, Justin here again with another video in our series on Facebook ad targeting. So today we're going to go over that campaign we set up a couple of days ago, and then we're going to get into some tips on targeting locally. So let's go ahead and jump over to the computer and check it out. First, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, just click the subscribe button below, tick the bell icon so you get notified of new videos when they come out, and let's go ahead and get started with the training. All right, guys, so our ads have been running for a couple of days now. So we're just going to take a look at the results and see which ads we can eliminate and really how to improve this, because ignore this top line for right now. So here's our two ad sets that we created in the last video, and you can see even the one that's doing better is still costing 53 cents per page like, which is really high. Now again, our primary focus, I really don't recommend, there's not a lot of reasons why you would want to spend a lot of money getting page likes. You should really be allocating your money to getting clicks to a landing page that's going to help you build your email list. So again, definitely be focused on building the email list more than getting page likes. If you want to learn more about how you can build your email list and why that's so important and how you can use your email list to have a very successful music career and make a lot of money selling your music and building your fan base, go to jammob.com/start and you'll get access to a free training that I put together there for you. All you have to do is just go to jammob.com/start, enter your email address. On the next page, you'll have some instructions on how to set up your account. All you have to do is create a username and password, then you'll get access to free training. It's 100% free, so there's no reason not to do it. You'll get a lot of good insights into how to grow your fan base and sell more music using email marketing, which is a very, very powerful tool. All right, so that being said, if we were actually paying for clicks to our landing page, 50 cents a click for a very targeted lead that's likely to give us their email address and listen to our music, that's really not that bad. But for a page like, that's really high. I wouldn't want to spend more than 10 or 15 cents per page like for a very targeted like that is somebody that is in an area where my band's likely to perform, or where my music, or somebody that's interested in actually listening to my music and paying for my music. So one thing to keep in mind here is with this audience, it's targeting people in the United States. So generally, advertising to people in the United States is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's a country that's more affluent, where people have more disposable income. There's more money to be made, so advertising there is more expensive. It's as simple as that. And as we get more and more targeted into like local areas, which I'll talk about more later this video, or maybe in the next video if this one runs too long, it could get even a little bit even more expensive. So just something to keep in mind. Now, you might have noticed up here that I have a campaign where I've got 1 cent page likes. In this, I didn't send to Dr. B and the E's. This is just like a little demonstration that I set up, sent some likes to another page so I could show you guys 768 page likes. I literally spent $5 for 768 page likes. So let me do the math here. That's $5 divided by 768 page likes equals 0.065. So that's 6.5 tenths of a cent. So that's, if you round it up, that's 7 tenths of a cent for a like. So less than 1 cent per page like. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, let's talk about why you might want to do that. So there's multiple reasons why people might want to increase their Facebook likes. For one thing, to build an audience of people that are actually interested in your music and interested in going to your shows and hearing about your next tour and things like that. So we want to be really targeted with the people that we add to our Facebook page when we're making that our focus. Now, there's another benefit to having a lot of likes on your Facebook page, and that's simply when somebody goes to your Facebook page and they see that there's a bunch of people that like your music, they'll think, oh, wow, this person's pretty popular. I should listen to their music too. So that's one of the big reasons why people want to get Facebook likes. There are a lot of ways to do this. One of the common ways that was at least more popular a few years ago. I think, people still do it, is you can go to websites like Fiverr and, other websites where you're basically paying $5 for 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes or something like that. And it's all bots, and you could get your Facebook page shut down for buying a bunch of, bogus likes from some third-party website that are most likely bots anyway. Now, if you go through Facebook's advertising platform, then they aren't really going to shut you down because you paid them for these likes. They sent you the likes. So the secret to doing this is quite simple, actually. Set up everything exactly the same. You set up, you probably want to use multiple artists for your targeting just to make your audience a little bit bigger. But instead of targeting the United States, simply target the Philippines and Indonesia. And I don't know why this is. It's probably maybe click farms, or maybe just people in those countries really like clicking on stuff. I don't know, but for whatever reason, clicks are really, really cheap. So all you have to do is, instead of targeting the United States or more affluent developed nations, you target Singapore, Philippines, or Indonesia, places like that, and you can get Facebook likes for less than a penny each. So there's a little kind of gray hat hack there. If, for whatever reason, I'm not saying everybody should do that, but if for some reason you want to have more Facebook likes and you want to do it in a way that's not going to get your account banned, not going to get your page shut down, and it's, very, very inexpensive, that's what you do. Just set up a campaign, target the Philippines, Indonesia. You get clicks for 0.7 of a cent or less. All right, so let's talk about our actual page like campaign that we sent up. So first of all, there's one thing that stands out right away is that people interested in Johnny Lang, remember everything else was identical on these ads. People that are interested in Johnny Lang seem to respond better to our ad because our cost is almost half, right? So our first gut instinct would be just to shut off this ad right here and let this one continue to run. But a lot of times we'll find that there's not just a discrepancy in the likes from our interest targeting, but also from the images. So sometimes you might find that even though most of our ads running to this audience are more expensive or people aren't responding to it, there could be one ad. Because remember, there were 6 different images that we used for each of these ad sets. There could be one of those that's actually performing really well. So we want to be sure to check all of the ads that are running in both of these ad sets to see which ones are performing best. And if you click right here where it says cost per result, you can sort by how much it's costing per page like. And since we have both ad sets selected, it'll show all of the ads for both of these ad sets. And we can still see, okay, it's confirmed that Johnny Lang definitely, people interested in Johnny Lang's music are responding a lot better because the top 3 least expensive ads are all Johnny Lang. And then you can see, so the cheapest one right now, we're getting 36 cent page likes, 48 cent, 53 cent. And then the next one is 67 cents, and that's Marc Broussard. So then we have some Marc Broussards. And then we have a few others down here that just aren't getting placed. And it's pretty much the same images. Now, this ad's been running for a couple of days. If we were to shut off some of these other ones that aren't performing very well, like at this point, I might shut off everything getting over 50 cents per like because that's just way too high. So I'm going to shut those down. Normally, I would let... the longer you let this run, the more accurate this data is going to be. But I typically find that once you've reached an audience of 100 people, 100 different people, which is what the reach is right here. So this is the number of people that the ad has been displayed to, and this is the number of times it's been displayed. So it's been displayed more than once to a couple different people, but for the most part, it's all unique visitors. So the longer you let this run, the more accurate these numbers will be. And you might see that they'll go down a lot, or you might see that they'll go up. But for the purposes of shooting this video, I'm going to go ahead and start shutting some of these down because just based on my experience, this is all really, really high. So it might come down, but I think just based on my experience, we probably have some other opportunities to lower these numbers than just letting all this run. So I'm going to shut all this down. And now one option, if for some reason these ads that aren't getting placed, because you can see the reach is only 15, 9, 24, 22, it means they're clearly not getting placed nearly as much as the other ones. Now that we have removed a lot of the options that Facebook has for our ads, by leaving these checked, they might get placed a little bit more, and we might find that they're actually not that expensive to get likes or clicks. But more often than not, if Facebook's not placing them, it's probably for a reason. They're probably just not going to perform that well. Still, it's not a whole lot of data just yet, so you might let those run if you're just like really married to an ad image that you think is going to perform really well. But I'm not, so I'm just going to shut all that stuff down and let the two top performers run for right now. Now, another thing that's going to give you a lot of really good feedback is once each of these ads have reached 500 people, so not the ad set, but the actual individual ads itself, once it gets up to 500 people, over here, there should be a column that says relevance score. Now, this is 1 to 10 range, 1 being not very related at all to your target audience, and 10 being super relevant to your target audience. So by letting these ads run, we can see what our relevance score is. And if it's really high, like if it's a 7, that's pretty good. If it's 8, 9, you're probably not going to get a 10, but if you get like an 8 or a 9, that's great. That's highly relevant, and you'll probably get really, really good placement, really cheap page likes or clicks if you're running a click campaign. If it's 7, you're doing pretty good. If it's below 7, then you probably need to do some tweaking. But in any case, despite the fact that this cost per page like is still a lot higher than I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and let these two images continue to run, see if this maybe goes down. But I know that our Marc Broussard ad set was not performing as well, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that one down altogether. So I'm just going to go back over to ad set, and I'm going to turn off Marc Broussard. Okay, so now I still have my Johnny Lang interest ad set running, and while my overall cost per page like is 53 cents, of the ads that are still running, both of them are getting under 53 cents per page like. So we should see this number go down. And a lot of times after you let the campaign run for a couple more days, you'll see that Facebook starts to recognize that people are actually responding to your ad, and you could really see this number go down a lot. But if you don't, then what do? Well, what we did in the first place, we just test some more stuff. So what I would recommend doing at this point, if we're running a campaign like this, is we're just going to duplicate our Johnny Lang interest group, then go to edit at the ad set level, and we can adjust our interest. So what you might be inclined to do initially is just, since you have one ad set that's targeting Johnny Lang, do the same thing we did before. Cut out Johnny Lang and just try a different artist, maybe throw in Ray Charles or something like that. But what I actually recommend that you should do is leave Johnny Lang and just add in the extra artist. So add in, if let's say Ray Charles, and we may see, well, one of two things should happen. Either one, this ad set performs better and we get cheaper cost per clicks and more placement, or it performs worse. Now, if it performs worse, we know that it's probably because of the addition of Ray Charles, so we should remove Ray Charles as our targeting option and try someone else. If it performs better, then we know one of two things has happened. Either this combination of targeting people that like Johnny Lang and people that like Ray Charles helps our ad perform better, or just targeting people that are interested in Ray Charles helps our ad perform better. So at that point, if we found that this combination has caused our cost per click to go down and our ad to get placed a lot more, then our next test should be to test Johnny Lang and Ray Charles in one ad set versus just Ray Charles in the other ad set, to see if Ray Charles is just going to perform better than the combination of Johnny Lang and Ray Charles. So hopefully that all makes sense. If you're confused about anything, just leave a question in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to clarify. So that's how I would continue to test ad sets in this particular campaign. But now I actually want to talk about something else that's really important for artists, especially if you are a live performing artist. If you play around town a lot, or you want to play around town a lot more often, or not just your town, other towns, but you want to play live, then it's important to build an audience that's going to actually show up to your shows. So a lot of musicians are perfectly happy just creating their music, putting it out on the internet, sending people to their YouTube videos, and just building a fan base that's all online. But if, on the other hand, you perform live out at bars and clubs and you want more people to come see you, then it might not make sense for you to spend a bunch of money promoting your music to people in, let's say Europe, if you're performing at a local bar regularly in Milwaukee, right? So if our goal is to get more people to come to our shows, then we probably want to focus on targeting people in the areas that we're going to be in. But again, we want to get specific with this. So let me ask you a simple question. Would you rather have, let's say, one fan in 100 different cities in the United States or 100 fans in one city? Well, if your goal is to get people to come to your shows, then it makes sense to focus on building that audience, that 100 people in that one city. Because people aren't going to fly from all over the world just to come see you play at a bar down the street. But if they already live down the street, then yeah, it's going to be a lot more likely to get those people to come to your shows. So this band, Dr. B and the E's, is based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I'm going to change this targeting. I'm going to get rid of the United States, and I'm just going to target Chattanooga, Tennessee. Boom. Now we have another targeting option right here, which is either people who live in this location, everyone that's in this location. So that's includes people that don't just live here, but people that are also currently visiting, people recently in this location. So this could be people that live here but aren't there now, or people that have recently been there to visit. And then there's people traveling in this location, which is just people passing through, people visiting, and it does not include people that live there. So let's say that you have a show tonight and you want to run some ads to get more people to show up tonight. Well, then everyone in this location is probably a pretty good option because it doesn't matter if they live there or not. If they're in town tonight, then they can come see your show. But if we're trying to build our fan base, if we want to build our email list or build a Facebook page of people that live close by that are likely to come not only to our show tonight, but to future shows, then we'll only want to target people who live in this location. So that's what I'm going to choose here. And you'll notice that my reach has gone down a lot. So when I was targeting everyone in the United States, let's see what that was, because I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, it was 110,000 people. Now, when I target just Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's fewer than 1,000 people. And when it's that low, sometimes it's really hard to get our ad to actually run. But I am curious to see if this does get placed and if people do respond to it. So I'm just going to leave it as is for now and let this one run. I'm going to adjust the name real quick. Johnny Lang, Chattanooga. So I know that this one's just targeting people in Chattanooga. And I'm going to leave everything else exactly the same. So I'm going to click Save and Continue. And I really want to kind of compare this ad set to the one that targets everyone in the United States. Hopefully it gets placed and I can actually get some data. But one thing I want to do is eliminate some of these ads that weren't performing very well. So I remember this was one that was good. Unfortunately, I don't remember everything. I know that this was one that didn't work or wasn't getting placed. So I'll remove that. This was one that wasn't getting placed. Pretty sure this was, I don't know. I think it was this one. I know it was this one. I'm going to just leave all of these and then I'll just shut them off after I place the order. All right. So let's go in here. Okay, it was the one with the keyboard and the amplifier. So I'm going to turn this one off. And this one. All right, so here's the two that are in our Chattanooga ad set. I'm just going to edit the name real quick. All right, so we'll let those ad sets run for a couple more days and see what kind of results we get. But there's also another option that can often work a lot better if our goal is to get people to show up to our shows in a particular city. So I'm going to set up another ad set and see if we can get a bigger audience for our local targeting. So here, instead of targeting Johnny Lang, I'm going to target people in Chattanooga that are interested in live music. Live music. All right, now because our reach is still so low, we might add a few additional interests. And then if we get some traction with this, then we can go in and maybe test just one of these at a time. But most likely we'll need to have multiple interests here to be able to reach enough people for our advertisements to show. So based on this, I can actually click the suggestions option and Facebook will suggest some similar interests that I can use. So concerts for sure. And now you can see my reach has popped up to 53,000 people. So that's people just in Chattanooga, Tennessee that are interested in concerts. So that's a pretty good size audience especially considering Chattanooga, I just happen to know, I think is like 200 or 300,000 people, including the surrounding areas. So that's a big chunk of people. It might turn out that it's too broad, but we'll roll with it for now, let it run for a couple of days and see what happens. If it turns out that it is too broad, then we can probably go in here and find some other interests that will target a little bit smaller audience. Like this one, for example, only targeted 1,200 people. Concerts in general brought it up over 50,000. So we might remove that and find another similar interest that may turn out to be a little bit more targeted. But we'll let this one run for now. I'm going to go ahead and confirm. I forgot to update my name, so I need to do that real quick. So interest, live music / concerts, Chattanooga. Then confirm. Okay, so that's all great, except it looks like I accidentally edited the Johnny Lang one instead of duplicating like I was supposed to. So I'm going to fix that real quick. Okay, change this one back to Johnny Lang. And instead of duplicating this, I'm actually going to create a completely new ad set because I'm going to use different creative. Now, I know this is a little bit counter to what I've been preaching this whole time of only test one thing at a time. But running these ads is actually both a science and a little bit of an art form. So the more experience that you have doing this, the better you can gauge when it's time to just test one thing or when you might want to test more than one thing. So the reason I want to test different creative is because, for one thing, I know that based on my experience, most likely targeting people interested in Johnny Lang throughout the entire United States and using the same exact ads to target people just in Chattanooga, most likely this cost per page like is going to be a lot higher because it's such a small audience if it gets placed at all. And this 54 cents per page like is really, really high. Like I was saying earlier, if you're going to run a like campaign to people in the US, you're probably going to want to keep your cost per page like, 15, 20 cents at most, but really less than that. So when we're seeing that our results are not really very close to what we would expect or what we want, it's often a good idea to do something drastically different, because typically small changes will lead to small improvements. Big changes will lead to big improvements, or sometimes big disasters. But it's the best way to move the needle more in the direction that you want, just to try something completely different sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new ad set, and I'm going to use an existing campaign, Dr. B Likes campaign. Continue. So we'll do the same Facebook page, obviously. I'm going to name this Interest Live Music Concerts Chattanooga. I'll scroll down here, set this to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Set my interests to live music, concerts, and then I'll just continue. And we'll use images with our ads again. Instead, we're not going to do video or slideshow with this one. Go ahead and try this Dr. B and the Ease one again. Just have to adjust this. And I might try, maybe just use this part of the album cover just to experiment a little bit. So I've got the top half of the image and the bottom half. Just see what happens. We'll add some more stock images. This time we'll just type in live music and see what comes up. Here, I'll use this one. Here's one of the crowd having a good time. Throw that in there. Another one that says live music. It's pretty colorful. Maybe that'll get people's attention a little bit. This one with this guy on the guitar. Let's try that. Click done and make sure that all of these images are lined up the way I want. Okay, so we got this chick smiling and clapping. That's good. Let's make sure that this doesn't really fit. I don't know if I like that. You can't read the whole thing. I'm going to get rid of that one. Grab this guy. All right, let's crop these. Make sure you get the guy with the guitar. You got all the text there. All right, so we've got our images loaded up. Now we're just going to change our text. All right, here's our text. Enjoy live music in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Click like to check out the soulful sounds of Dr. B and the Ease. We'll make sure that displays on all of our ads. Dr. B. Yeah, this one's fine. It says Dr. B. It's got Dr. B and the Ease here, Dr. B and the Ease there. And then down here at the bottom, you might get this sometimes. So you have to be very careful with not putting too much text in your ads. I think Facebook generally only allows about 20% of your ad to be text, But because these are stock images on their website, I'm going to just click request manual review, and they might approve them anyway. So I'm going to click that and then click confirm. So now I've got 3 ad sets running. I'm going to let them go for a couple more days, and then I'll come back and take a look at the results. All right, guys, be back in a couple more days with another video to look at the results of the campaign we just set up. If you are enjoying the training in this series, be sure to click the thumbs up button below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the notification icon to be notified when new videos are released, and I will see you guys next time.